Kurt Thompson, and I'm reviewing a breathing apparatus device. And originally it's designed for patients that have had some type of surgery and they're trying to get their lungs back in order after anesthesia. But for us brass playing folks, and well, actually, I shouldn't be brassist, should I? Okay, let me not be brassist, and let me say that it's for all wind musicians, vocalists, and woodwind players, as well as brass musicians. So, for most brass players, now I'm not really going to go into woodwind players and vocalists, but for most brass players, to get the ultimate best out of your playing, especially in the extreme upper register, you have to synchronize 3 stages of compressing the air. The first stage is the diaphragmatic breathing. Breathing as deep as you possibly can and putting as much pressure on the lungs and diaphragm. That's the first stage. The second stage is the bottleneck at your throat and tongue arch. And you've heard band directors say, don't pinch off your throat. Don't pinch the air with your throat. Well, they're absolutely ridiculous, and they're probably just regurgitating what their instructor told them. That's nonsense. The only way you cannot have a bottleneck and not pinch off the air at your throat would be if you were a dolphin or a whale. In other words, if you breathe straight up through a hole in the top of your head, then there's no pinching off. But there's an L shape that happens when the air comes up to your throat. It makes a right angle and comes out your mouth. There's a bottleneck there, regardless of what your band director may say. There's a bottleneck there. There's going to be a resistance. That bottleneck combined with your tongue and tongue arch creates the second stage of compressing. And then the final third phase of compressing the air would be at your aperture. You know, if you have a big aperture loose, flapping your lips, or, you know, maybe, let's just say on a reed instrument, maybe you're using a Rico #1 reed, and it's just soft, and you're able to have a lot of air go in at one time. Well, you're not going to be compressing the air as efficiently. So these are the 3 stages. And what these devices, I have several tutorials coming your way. What these devices actually work on is the first stage of compressing the air. For those of you who like analogies, the first stage of compressing the air is just like the principle of the jet engine. You know, the jet engine and the propeller plane are 2 different animals, right? You get a lot more power from the jet engine. The jet engine, you can think of scientifically blowing up a balloon and let it as much as you can before it pops, and then letting it go. And you remember, you can see it kind of flutter around and go in circles around the room. That's the principle of jet propulsion, and that's actually what our first stage of compression is. Think of our lungs as a balloon. We're inhaling to the max, and maybe even beyond that, creating this ultimate pressure that on its own, the energy wants to come out through our mouth. It wants to expel, you know, through our mouth. That energy is what is 1/3 required to get the best tone, the best endurance, the best sound, the best control, and the best range. So it makes sense if you're a vocalist, if you're a sax player, I would say even more so if you're a flute player, really. It would really make sense to work on this stage of compressing the air. So I have several tutorials coming your way. And I might just leave this introduction for all 3 tutorials. So if you've seen one tutorial, you might have heard this introduction, but don't worry, I'll be going into the particular details of the new device. So anyway, I'm Kurt Thompson. You're going to see me do some demonstrations as well. So it won't just be a speaking video with some pictures. You're going to see me demonstrate